Okay, we are ready.
Thank you, Rashmi. Good evening, everyone. I think it's good morning in India, good morning in Australia, good afternoon, I think, in USA. So let's say hello to everyone in the world. We're here today thanks to Inspiring Indian Women. My name is Malini Vissandjee. I work in the airline industry and I have my own fashion accessories business. I'm doing these talk shows for a while now, and it's been a wonderful opportunity given to me by Rashmi, who I will introduce later on, from Indian Women, Inspiring Indian Women. Today's talk is brought by Inspiring Indian Women Group, which was started with a vision to reach out and inspire each other with their success stories. It helps and promotes Indian culture across the globe and provide a healthy platform for Indian women to motivate and support each other. Personally, I've been following IIW for a while now and being inspired and supported with the talent that I have. Inspiring Indian Women promotes art, talents, skills, businesses, networking opportunities, supporting innovative ideas and helping realizing dreams. Today, we have the privilege of having on the platform Khushbu Jain, advocate to Supreme Court in India. Thank you for joining us, Khushbu.
Thank you so much.
Khushbu is practicing advocate before the Supreme Court of India. She's founder and managing partner of ARK Legal, based in Mumbai and Delhi. Her area of expertise is practice pertaining business corporates, criminal law, cyber law, data protection, and privacy law. Lately, we've seen her a lot in the media speaking about data protection, which is newly introduced in India, I think. Ms. Jain has supported as advisor to many startups in structuring compliances and drafting agreements during incorporation and during phases of investment and otherwise other issues. Ms. Jain has been part of landmark cases and rulings, such as appearing against Microsoft for infringement of privacy. She has also appeared pro bono for a case of genocide in Sri Lanka, and her appearances have been countless and remarkable. Ms. Jain is also a public speaker, opinion column writer for newspapers, and covers extensively on issues related to corporate law, privacy, and cybercrime. Last but not least, she's part of state police initiatives as well for creating awareness on cybercrime against children and amongst others. Today, we are here to talk about cybercrime and cyberbullying, which has become increasingly prevalent in our society, and we're going to have her take on it to give us advice and make us aware of how we can act and protect ourselves. Thank you for joining us today, Khushbu. We're going to start with a session of questions, and in between, we will see if we've got questions from the audience through Facebook. We're Facebook Live and on Zoom. And this is monitored by Rashmi. And Rashmi will interject once in a while to tell us if there are any questions. Thank you, Rashmi. We will also have Rashmi recounting how she personally experienced cyberbullying, and maybe she could give some, Khushbu could give us some advice. And I think listening to somebody going through that kind of thing it gives you an insight on how bad it could be. Am I right, Khushbu?
Absolutely.
So let's start with you, first of all. You as a person, what made you go into this field of legal field, Khushbu?
So there was nothing specific. I think more of reading newspapers and, more of seeing things around. I've always been I mean, in school, I have always been, so I don't come from the background. Usually you'd see people coming from the legal background, especially if you see women, they would be coming from, they have a legal background. So I do not come from a legal background. I'm purely from a business family, whereas my dad's side is concerned, and doctor's family, whereas my mom's side is concerned. So I think it's purely been since childhood reading a lot of newspapers, policies, that drive that, oh, some changes should come up, or why is this like that? So that got little into it. And I just popped the question in the house that why not law? So my grandfather was like, yeah, you should. And there's not a big story I have. I was like, okay, why not law? I was like, yeah, please go ahead. So I'm the only one. I come from the joint family, but still I think there also I'm the only one who has pursued law.
Well, that's very good. And what's impressive is that you are already a partner and a founder of ARK Legal, which is your own company. So how did you come about with that? Let's talk about ARK Legal for a few minutes.
So I started in Supreme Court as a junior with a senior counsel. So if you want to practice per se, you practically do not need a law firm. Then came the time in between that I shifted more towards a corporate law, and catering to a lot of corporates in dealing with corporate crimes. Now with corporate crime, with advent of technology came, side by side cyber. So it became more like whenever you're dealing with any kind of crime has a little bit hint of cyber, and that's how, that entry into the cyber happened. Now, when you're catering to corporates, it's more of, the firm culture, and you want to have firm, you want to have more people, it's more organized. So that's how the firm started.
Okay, good to know. So let's go into cyberbullying and cybercrime. What's the difference between face-to-face bullying and cyberbullying? What difference really is there? Is it worse? Is it not as, is it not as strong? What do you think?
So I would say, see, any kind of crime, let's go back a little. Any traditional crime which you see happening with us, or which we see around, same thing, if that's done on internet, is also a crime. There's no difference into it. Like, let's say, for example, I'll give you a basic example, and then let me come to the part of cyberbullying different from face-to-face bullying, because we, as a women, even if it's a cyberbullying, it cannot restrict it to internet. It goes to a real life. It's practically not just, you close your computer down and you're done. No, it does. But let me go back. That pick up any crime. I mean, any traditional crime, you give me an example of, even let's say stalking or forgery, or anything which happens, which we used to have in real life. The moment it has taken something on internet, not that it's not a crime, it's really a crime. Now, any kind of crime which is carried out online, cyberbullying bullying used to happen before also, but it used to happen, in the real life, and it also used to be very daunting effect, whereas women are concerned. But it used to be easy. When real life bullying used to happen, it's easy for you to understand who's the perpetrator. It was easy for a person to catch that person. It was easy to report, and it was easy to convert that into a crime, into an FIR, and get the person punished. Now, the moment this has taken up a turn, whereas cyber or technology is concerned, anybody sitting behind the screen feel that, okay, I can't be caught. One. Now, second, that, okay, we as a law enforcement or people have come to an extent that, okay, we understand who's there. Then comes the advent of VPNs and other things that there also we do not understand, and those safe haven places like which talk about internet privacy. So internet privacy is not for criminals. We have started giving internet privacy to the criminals. So they feel that because that fear of not getting caught makes you commit more crime. So there have been so if I just do a plain part, if I put it that what exactly is cyberbullying, it can be a definition of cyberbullying per se, how it is different from that. Then I'll say that it can happen any time of the day if it is carried out online through any kind of medium, either on social media platform or chat box or any kind of messengers or via emails. Even if somebody is dropping an email to you is similar to a cyberbullying. It can be a direct bullying, it can be indirect bullying. It can happen, if I take it impact, face-to-face bullying and cyberbullying, face-to-face, it is specifically between you and me. Things can be solved between some number of people. The moment it takes a, cyber, one time, it's a fraction of seconds that things go here and everywhere. The second thing comes is audience is large, and large audience can be involved in one kind of bullying with you, which has a very daunting effect. It can be even it can be unwittingly cyberbullying. Like, for example, let's say a bully adds a photo of a victim on the internet, and that photo can be seen and shared by a much wider audience than, let's say, something happening in a school or in your colony or in your area, or your neighbor trying to bully you, which would be between few people, and it's easy to forget. So what makes it more painful is the part that one cannot forget. So the part right to be forgotten.
Psychological effect.
Absolutely, absolutely. And whereas cyberbullying is concerned, as I said, it's easy to hide your identity online, that anonymity which brings in play. So in a normal course, one do not understand the identity. It's easy to also depict yourself as somebody else. So I might pose myself as Rashmi ji and practically, bully you or create things like that. And also, to an extent, recently people have seen what people do is, you and mine and your chat, I can literally create that chat on with the technology, with few basic apps, and post it over there that this was a chat between you and me, which actually wasn't a chat. And people start talking and there's a white shred. So for you to practically go to everybody and that damage control becomes very painful. Yeah, go on.
That's very interesting, because it's like also gossip in real life. We're having a chat and then somebody goes and says, twists things around, etc., and it becomes it could end up being a bullying, but the actual original conversation was about something else.
Absolutely.
In actual fact. Why and when does cyberbullying become a crime?
See, if I'll put it, cyberbullying per se itself is not a. If it is a crime, it's not specifically been defined whereas acts are concerned, but it becomes a crime the moment it takes a turn. It comprises with it takes a turn to either harassment. It takes it adjoins with the part when it comes to hurting women modesty, or to an extent going ahead of that, or it gets into private life of somebody, depicting pornographic, it has to be attached to somebody. So bullying per se, yes, it's a crime, but there's no specific definition of where cyberbullying is concerned. Especially if you talk about India also, if you talk about UK also, we don't have any specific definition which defines cyber crime per se as a crime and covered in a specific legislation, whereas UK is concerned, or whereas India is concerned. But it is a criminal offense. You have helpline numbers in India, you have helpline numbers in UK 24/7 where you can register your complaints. You have online portals in UK and in India where you can register your complaints. You can be anonymous also, and you can post screenshots and details and URLs, or the screenshots of whatever has happened, and put it across over there. If I give you example of India, there is cybercrime.gov.in. I can put it on a chat box for people to put it. You can just go over there. You can choose the option of being anonymous or normal. If it's not that kind of a cybercrime that you want to be part of it, the concerned police station, either if it's solved, it can be solved at their level, they will solve it. If not, they will call you up, they'll ask you if you want to be anonymous, you can still be anonymous. Same thing happens in UK also. You can choose to be anonymous, whereas these kind of crimes are concerned, because these are sensitive human crimes.
When we talk about cyberbullying, youngsters such as, I don't know, 13, 14, who are on social media, how would one identify that they're being, how would that person identify themselves that they're being bullied? How would they sort of, it's the word is out there, the word bullying is out there. There's bullying in school, which is very common in the UK, which I've heard a lot. But cyberbullying, how would a youngster of that age, would say, oh, I'm being bullied, what do I do?
Okay, so
because there's no specific definition either in the UK or in India. So it could happen to any youngster anywhere in the world, anywhere in the UK or India.
So let's understand the unique characteristics of cyberbullying and fit in either one or all or maximum number of it, and see that it has been happening, and then let's understand what immediately has to be done, the immediate to do. So one is it can be characterized as intentional, it can be often repetitive, it can be hurtful behavior towards the other person, maybe in the group or maybe personally. It can have distinguished elements, such as, so if I talk about repetitive. It's persistent. So persistent, if I say that, you will see that most of the students will come across some form of technology at any time. So that persistency, children are there in the school and they want to be part of the community, the fear of missing, and they do not understand. So you'll see that that persistency is over there. Now, what makes cybercrime difficult is it's hard to detect. Why it is hard to detect? Because some bullying is sometimes very overt. You do not understand whether it's bullying or not. It can be a normal thing. Same as defamation, you never know what's defamation. You say, I have a right to speech, but it can be somebody else's right to, freedom of peace. You cannot just take away that person's peace. So it's hard to detect. So you need to understand whether, that overt and covert, whether that thin line has been passed or not, such as, pushing or damaging somebody's belonging. Cyberbullying happens through computer phones or anything. So one has to understand how to detect that or how to understand. Now you have to also understand that anything which is happening anonymous, somebody who wants to be anonymous, there has to be a reason for anonymity. So you have to make see, there has to be, whereas children, if you're talking about specific age group of children, you have to make them understand not to get into the places where you're talking to anonymous people, anonymous chats. And if you are, then it's not always anonymous. Even for people who do it, there are children who do it because they're not aware. And I am the one who's a victim because I'm also not aware, so I do not go. So there is nothing called as anonymity whereas internet world is concerned as on date, whereas crime against children are concerned. See, with women and with other things, there are different legislations which talk different definitions. But any crime against children is practically similar across jurisdictions. And there is where none of those, platforms can take a free pass of privacy, because all jurisdictions, law enforcement agencies have been very proactive, whereas crime against children have concerned, or child pornography or child violence or all other crimes which are happening, bullying or harassment or different kind of sexting or different kind of crimes that happen over internet, whereas children are victimized. Those have been very specific. So one has to understand there is nothing called as anonymity, though you're sitting in your room, behind inside your four walls, purely secured behind your screen. But no, and nothing is forgotten. Everything has a copy. Even when you delete it today, also, if you tell me, I can get your things which are deleted. So there's nothing that you have deleted, that you're done and dusted. Even your phone, if can be put into forensics, one can understand what happened. What you browse has also been seen by people, and technology people really boast that we can tell you before you get pregnant. So I was like, all right. With the kind of, I'll give you basic examples. You search, Google knows what kind of things you're searching. Then you buy some medicines or some test. The other app knows more about it. Imagine with metadata that all combined, literally before your family gets to know, your technology people knows what exactly it is. And another, that meme which used to go on, that somebody used to say that something about that my father has done this. So then the Facebook owner says that, let me tell you who your father is. So on the lighter note, so technology people know more about you. So I'm saying that it's not that you are hidden. Anonymity is just a face of it. So do not go on internet and try to commit for ourselves also, because we do not understand these laws. But then it can be very well caught. And the recent changes which have come in UK, which have come in India, which have come in US is regard to forcing all these platforms to bring in their own guidelines, community guidelines. The second guidelines, what they're forcing is, in case of crimes, such heinous crimes, they are forcing that you have to give us a detail of that person. You even have to give us, even if there is a court order, then they will even give you entire whatever has been put in a proper evidence form. So there's nothing called as anonymity over here if you do it. So coming back to your part, that what are more characteristics of cyberbullying? Cyberbullying, you can also see that it is capable of spreading it to much larger audience. Information online can be shared easily, quickly. It can be copied. More of screenshots. You keep on sharing the screenshots around. It's easier to hurt. So if you have if I come to a basic ingredients of cyberbullying. Basic ingredients of cyberbullying, if I have to define, let me put it to an extent that something which has a content of hurting somebody. It can be either name calling, it can be hitting, it can be pushing, it can be spreading humors, this is bullying, okay? And then let's convert it to a cyberbullying. The bullying definition can be it can be either in the home, it can be in the online space. So it can be a name calling, hitting, pushing, spreading humors, threatening, or undermining somebody's image. Now, the same thing which can happen at school, home, or office, or road, or any other place now can happen also online. So cyberbullying can take place online, and it can have all these ingredients. It can happen from either social media apps, networks, gaming apps, mobile phone chats, whatever the different platforms you go on chats. Now, what are the signs of bullying which you have to teach children, which children have to be aware about? Are you need to watch out for that children are getting that feeling of lost.
But that's where my next question is, Khushbu. How do you educate? Let's talk about women here. At certain generations, I'll talk about simply like my mom. Yeah, she's from a generation where she doesn't know what cyberbullying is, or how, and she goes on Facebook, she doesn't receive any messages of bullying or anything. But taking that person, how would we educate? Because let's say she's, the word we say, bully bali, yeah? And we have a lot, the old generation don't know what this is all about, but they go online and they might be receiving those kind of messages, but they're so intimidated maybe that they don't even speak. And my question is, sometimes you would feel, I'm primarily cyberbullied, it's because it's my fault, because I'm engaging with this person who is bullying me. You could feel guilty about it and not talk about it. So how do you educate? Let's talk more primarily with women of the previous generation to others, for example. And I think inspiring Indian women, a lot of women are from that generation. So whether it's in England, or what way can we educate these people? Children are educated in school, I think, most of the times, or hoping that today's generation of parents might be educating their children about, making them aware that be careful, if you have this, if you have that, you need to let me know. I'm not sure it's done by every parent, and there's time. Do they know their child is on social media? They don't even know. So let's sort of try and cover that. I know it's a big question, Khushbu.
Yeah. So, okay. So I think I'll say this is basic hygiene for everybody. Either we teach the elder people who are there on internet, A, B, either we teach them in a manner that we make them more equipped. You do it, because, I don't know how technology equipped people we're talking about, but it can be a mixture of both. It can be you teach them technology or not. Now, what has to be maintained is that you need to have a account device application network. You need to have a network where you can understand what all things are there, which are, like, for example, not to download things which are not to go to the places which are not normal. I mean, internet is it's an ocean. What we see, what even you and me see, is literally tip of an iceberg. If you slightly go here and there, and it can be just there. Now, another thing, something which is too good to be true, do not believe. Teach everybody. I mean, I also get sometimes a call that obviously that Amazon sale comes every year, and some of their Nana's friends have bought something, so they already got something at a very cheap door price. So that made him believe or trust that you can get some same kind of a stuff in a very discounted price. Now, another time when he got a message, he clicked on it and he kept on calling me up. I'm getting this and this price. Why are you not listening? You do this. I was like, do not click on it, Nana, please. Do not click. Do not. It's a phishing mail. It's a phishing, message. So, but then he did not listen, and his entire phone went off. I was lucky, whatever the data went off, but at least they're not on online, banking and all those things. But yes, do not tell them that something which is too good to believe on, do not believe into it. Too good to be true, A. B, something which is too fearful, do not get victimized by that also. Something like, your account has lost this much of money. The criminals are also very smart. So those things, or the cyberbullying people are also very smart. See, how the cyberbullying work. One is somebody who knows you. The second is the person who doesn't also know you, he tries to understand you through your footprints on internet. And all of us, all age group, have a habit of posting our pictures, what we eat, what we do. So practically one can profile. If I have to sit and profile somebody, I can literally map out his likings, his ways, do's, don'ts, and whatever. from that, I would understand, oh, this person, these are the things which I have to lure it. These are the things which I have to lure this person with. And that's how that thing, and they enter into that space, and then it enters into that, you open up a little, see, different age groups have different way of, dealing. Sometimes people want to talk. Sometimes people want to share things. And when you share things, then you don't want those things, you share with somebody because they will not be judging you. They're not your close people. So you tend to overshare things which you feel you're comfortable. And that comes as a reverse, that they come back, that cyberbullying, that I'm going to either make this public, or either they make it public, or they tell you things. So in all those scenarios, you have to make them understand that you have to maintain a cyber hygiene. Now, second, crimes are here to stay. I cannot say that you will be foolproof cyber, if you're on internet, bullying would not happen. And whatever the data says, 1 out of 5 people get cyberbullied, 1 out of 5. On internet. I mean, there has been data in US where they said that among 40 women, when they were talking about that, 40 women, how many, the ratio has been, 40 to 100. That 100 means almost 40 women have been subjected to cyberbullying. So the number, if you see, it's very large. So you have to make them understand, in case any kind of things are happening, do not run away from it. Just by shutting down the internet, not that things have not happened. Because when you don't report them, when they feel they can go scot-free, they want to commit that crime again and again. Either they will come to you only in a different phase, or they will commit it to somebody else. The cyberbullying,
सांबर को मोकली Zoom पर cyberbully, bullying करे cyber, and
We would definitely ask Ilaben to talk about it and what your question is. Thank you, Ilaben, while we continue the talk.
So as I start, one is, do not believe in too good, do not believe in fearful things, do not overshare things on internet, something which you can follow back, something which can be harassed about, something which you would not feel comfortable if it becomes public. Be very precautionary, take a lot of precaution when you share things over internet with somebody. Now, the third comes in case you're being bullied, do not just shut down and run away and, sit in the corner. Talk it out, speak it out. You have to talk to people. If you're not comfortable in talking, as I said, the helpline numbers, whereas UK and India are concerned, can keep you anonymous. Talk to at least some closest person of yours who can give you, a perspective towards that. Now, second is for everybody else, for you also. You should also share your things with others, that I went through that, so that it educates them that something like that has happened. So I should be more cautious when I go over there. Now, another thing comes is, yes, you have to keep, if you want to block it, you don't want to see things which are happening, what kind of things are happening, whereas bullying part is concerned, yes, you should block it. You can unfollow it. You can flag the content. But at the same time, before doing all of it, make sure that if it's a chat, take a screenshot with a timestamp. Proper screenshot with a timestamp, and they take another one with the other one, so that you have a timestamp into it. The second you do is, if it's something, then take a URL copy also, because what we see here, I cannot practically have an address. So when you click on it, that entire URL is the address for me. Address for any law enforcement agencies. So take that address down. All those pages, wherever things are happening, whatever maximum knowledge you can get about that, that person, just click on its profile and everything. Usually they create some fake profiles, and once they are done and they feel you're going to take some action, they delete everything and run away. But take all those things, take maximum of going on their profile and click as many screenshots as you can, or pictures about it, and with a timestamp, and keep it in a record. Now, taking action, whereas law enforcement is concerned, is a secondary thing. It's an optional thing. It depends on what kind of level it has gone through and what kind of actions you want to take. But these are the basics you should do. Then you can block, unfollow, and you can report. Now, all these platforms with community standards and different laws around the globe have come up with their own blocking system. So if you see, WhatsApp also has a part of report abuse and blocking. Same thing is there on Instagram, same thing is there on Snapchat, same thing is there on Facebook and Twitter, where you can report with proper things, and you can block that person, saying these are the criteria about it. You can even take a screenshot of that blocking and all those things for you to keep it in your some record somewhere, so that if something similar has come up, or something with the identical, which you can map it. As I said, they are repetitive. They understand that, oh, you're scared, so there's still a lever to push you, because they've invested time in you. If it's somebody who's trying to do it, there can be different forms. I'm not saying this is one side of cyberbullying. There are a lot of times when cyberbullying are just your people, somebody who has been close to you today, tomorrow want to, things have gone ugly, becomes a part of bullying. Some kind of transactions happening with some known person, and that transaction is not happening. So they think going on internet and bullying you is another good way to do it. Especially whereas women are concerned, what they tend to do is they tend to morph the pictures, create a profile, and then send it to all the known people, including, family and everybody. Yeah, these kind of instances have happened and they're there. I mean, I'm talking about real incidents. So there are different kind of things that happen, and that's why it calls for a different action. But definitely not to do is not to run away, not to get scared. You have not done the crime by coming on internet or by doing things. Maintain cyber hygiene. But secondary, if something has happened, do not run away, because that gives kind of a booster for these people that, I can go free and I can commit crimes. Change your privacy settings. Do not overshare things in public. Make sure, I mean, these are basic things, I think, which everybody knows, but we have to make at least our, elders understand about few things, that when you come on the same way, when you want to drive in a city, in a country, you have to learn basic rules of that place. So when you're surfing on internet, get the safe basic things.
Yeah, so that's a whole education to be given to the elder generation as well, saying, what they should be doing, and then, feel safe when they go online. That's what we need to educate, isn't it? Just the way it's done in school. I'm going to ask Rashmi if there are any questions on Facebook or Zoom. If not, then I would like, if you don't mind, Khushbu, Rashmi to come through and tell us about her experience, which seems to be quite drastic. If you could give us a brief, and maybe have a chat with Khushbu about it, Rashmi.
Yeah, thank you so much, Malini. Khushbu, I have seen all that, whatever you described. Yeah, my picture time and again being posted on Twitter through a fake account. Yeah. And the fake account, I would say, is the name Tiska Chopra. Yeah, I have to say. And people have been telling me, ignore, leave it aside. And worse come worse, this cyber bully woman, she herself does this crime of defamation, provocating me every now and then she files a defamation case against me. Can you believe it? I've got so many folders of her saying this, that, including that Rashmi is arrested. Rashmi is being sought out by police. Rashmi is this, Rashmi is that, and tagging my friends, my husband's office, writing emails to my husband's office, and then also putting a defamation case against me, and then sharing that court order onto various places. Look, there's a injunction against her. There's an injunction. Yes, I am there. My okay, you want to see, I'll add myself as spotlight. There I am. Yeah. So what she does is she puts my photograph, whatever I do, she goes to the Tiska Chopra account, because obviously she files a case against me, and then she cannot do the defamation from that account. So she goes through Tiska Chopra Twitter account, and from there she puts my pictures, my photographs, and writes all rubbish. She writes chor hai, this hai, that hai, fraud kar rahi hai. So she's insignificant in my life. I don't want to care for her. I don't want to give importance to her. But I want to tell her from this platform that even I can tag her husband's office. I can say BBC done this, that. I can do anything. But I prefer not to stoop to that level. And it's terrible. It's terrible. The more you go higher, the more she uses Tiska Chopra to harass. Now, I'm not scared, because I'm not a victim. I'm a fighter. I want to say that for me and my family, we don't care. She is non-existent. But the problem is that she takes my husband into the picture, because nothing affects me. She takes my husband's, tags his office. She takes my son, writes an email to my son, tags my daughter. Like, my children do not have blocked me, because they say, Mummy, if she sees us there, she's going to, start tagging me. So they've blocked me. Now, I do not want to say, write anything personal, no achievements of my family, nothing there, because she is behind my family. So I have to say, tell you this, the fake accounts, the insecurities, the writing, tagging family, husbands, using Twitter, using Facebook, putting my picture. I've seen all that since last 7 years, but has not stopped me. Neither it has stopped inspiring Indian women. Everybody who's collaborated with us has got an email that she is this, she is that, do not collaborate, but nobody has stopped. I'm so proud. I'm so proud of UK people, Londoners, that none of them have heeded to her words. Everybody has been with us, seen with us more, and they have joined inspiring Indian women, come what may, despite the threats. uh, I've been told that ignore it better. The more you answer back, the more she would be happy that you are, giving her importance. But does it stop somewhere? That's what I want to know. And I'm so glad that through this platform, I'm just trying to take out the things inside me which I do not want to take out. I do not want to tell people that, look, this is happening again and again. Recently also it happened, but because how do we stop it? Yes, I've got this email, to report. In fact, what she did was started a page in my name, calling me fraudster, and then adding all rubbish about me, on that page, through that page account. It was 2 months. There were 8 likes on that page. My personal photograph from my WhatsApp, was taken there. My personal photograph was there. And there were these 8 people sharing it around, share. And these 8 people were also sharing. And personally, I would question them, why are you doing this? Then the heated argument would start, and then she would end up sharing those heated chats. Look, Rashmi is bullying me, Rashmi is bullying me. Come on, I'm questioning you, why are you doing this? And those arguments were, screenshot of those arguments were put there. She's a bully, she's this and that. It's been terrible. I had reported it to the cybercrime branch in Mumbai, and the page finally got deleted, was deleted. It went on for 2 months. And the moment, I would get up every day, okay, how many likes on that page? Thankfully, there were 8 of them who had liked that page, and it was terrible. And I could see my photograph there every day, fraudster Rashmi Mishra. And what a way to, treat somebody who is trying hard to just make a difference. And it was, my family would tell me, don't open, but it would be there in some WhatsApp group somewhere. They would be discussing screenshots of my chat and all. I just that I have only all that. Once it was removed, then this Tiska Chopra thing, she started putting everything on Tiska Chopra. So I am like, okay, continue that. It will not stop me. Okay, Khushbu, over to you. Thank you so much.
All right. So to make you a little lighter, as I can see you're into it, you've got a diligent follower. All right. So let's start.
That's a good way to see it, Khushbu.
Yeah. All right. Not the follower you need, but yes, you have a very diligent follower. So, all right. To start with, you have done a good job. That not to, you see, one way is to ignore if it can be ignored, but if it it goes to that much of an extent. See, one is not to get into a chat, to stooping to that person's level so that they can take a screenshot. That's a very basic thing. I think doesn't need my advice into it. But yours is a combination of lot of things. One is copyright. The second is harassment. The third is malicious, things. It can involve defamation. So whereas Indian courts are concerned, whereas UK is concerned, you can practically take an injunction from the court against that person. It has nothing to do with the page. How many times you'll keep on going through the page, and that process is also very tedious. Following up with the police stations, sharing things, following up with the platforms, and doing things. When you're aware about the person, or if you're not aware, that there's one person or maybe one group of people who are after all these things, creating so many things around you. You can practically make put details into all these things, file a case against in the court, maybe against a pseudonymous case against somebody, and then, John Doe case, if you're aware about the identity or you believe that this is the person, then you can put the delete. Otherwise, if you don't know the identity, you can make these platforms party, or it is the duty of the state to take care of your privacy, and then you can ask that I want details from the platform for the originator, who's the person behind, and then make that person as a party. It can be two-way. Now, once you take an injunction against that person is will not be allowed to post anything against you anywhere, which is not true. Something which is true, the person can post it. The thin line where is defamation, where is malicious communications, where is harassment is concerned. Something which is true, I can practically post it. Something which is not true and I post it, that completely becomes, I'm trying to harass you, or I'm trying to malign your image, or I have an ill intention and I want to, have some
from a fake ID. Now from a fake ID.
Now, if you create a fake ID, that itself is also a crime, whereas cyber law is concerned. So that's why I was saying bullying per se, but if you combine it with different things, like creating a fake account, identity theft. Tiska Chopra is, I think, a known entity.
Yeah.
So if you're using, that's identity theft. If she's picking your picture and creating your own profile, that itself is an identity theft, and creating a fake profile to cheat somebody. So that can be a combination of Indian Penal Code and IT Act of India. Now, the moment you come about, whereas UK is concerned, to
hello,
have hi sir. All right. So whereas UK is concerned, you have, I think, Protection from Harassment Act of 1997, which specifically talks about that it is a criminal offense.
Hello. Sorry, I'm a bit late.
Welcome.
Thank you. Welcome.
Hello, is this the math class?
1 minute.
This is the math class?
Are we getting
hello?
now?
Yes, hello. Feminists. Yes,
So are we getting a lot of people here? So
Man rule the world. Man rule the world.
Yes, feminism sucks.
It does suck. Hey!
And eating for Okay, we are
right.
live.
We are back live. Want to apologize to our viewers about this Zoom bombing. Seems to be a new trend.
No, not a new trend. It's very old.
It's very old, and this is the first time I've experienced it. So we're sorry. We really want to apologize to our audience, and I hope we will be able to finish this session peacefully. Last few we had before we got interrupted. Rashmi from Inspiring Indian Woman was giving us talking to us about her experience, and Khushbu was advising on how she could act upon, and what she had done was correct, and what actions. Maybe you could end by letting us know, Khushbu, what maybe in the next, if she's still bombarded with this kind of cyberbullying, what could be the next action, I would say, in the future for her, for Rashmi?
See, it has to be a combination of things. If it's a different combination, I can't give a I can't give a corridor legal advice per se, but I can give suggestions. So it can be a part of harassment. So whereas let's talk about UK and then let's talk about India, what exactly. But nonetheless, from both the sides, one is file a cyber complaint. The second is if she knows the identity of the person and she knows that this is the only person who's doing things against me, then might go courts and get an injunction against that person for filing anything obscene or malicious or false content and using her pictures on any of the platforms. It can be against any platform. So she practically will be restrained from putting anything against Rashmiji without her authority or permission. Okay. Now coming on, what exactly these two countries cover. So, whereas this can be purely, can be covered into, whereas harassment is concerned under the Protection from Harassment Act of 1997 of UK, which says that it is a criminal offense for a person to pursue a course of conduct which amounts to harassment to the another, where a perpetrator knows or ought to know that this amounts to an harassment. So knowledge is a very, ingredient. Sometimes we do it and we don't know about it. So knowledge is aware is a basic ingredient. And this can include sending, personal or multiple abusive emails with an intention, to cause alarm or a distress to that person. The person can be found guilty of an offense up to 6 months of imprisonment under this section, under this act. There can also be a financial penalty imposed on that person, or it can be both also depending on the kind of crime. Now, section 4 of the same act also talks about the same thing, that if you alarm, there's a greater punishment if you alarm a fear to the person, or at least on 2 occasions the violence has been done against the same person. So multiplicity of it can go up to 5 years also. Now, this act also empowers the court to grant restraining order. When I was talking about you can get a restraining order. So you can have a restraining order against those who are found guilty of an offense under this act to protect the victim. Now, you also have a Malicious Communication Act of 1988, which talks about, any offense where a person sends a communication that is indecent, grossly abusive or offensive for, again, the purpose of that should be, causing distress or anxiety to the recipient. This act extends to threats and information which is false. So something which you're posting, which you're aware that it is not true, that false as an ingredient, or he has a knowledge or he believes that this is false, then that person can be found guilty of an offense liable under this act. And imprisonment again can go up to 6 months, for a fine which can go up to £5,000 or even both. And then you have Communication Act of 2003, you have Obscene Publication Act, depending on what exactly is the content over there, where it is a punishable offense. You have Public Order Act, depending what exactly are you doing over there. If your words are abusive, insulting behavior, or writing or visual representation can cause an distress or an alarm or something like that to a person, then in that scenario, you can also have this. Then there can be a Computer Misuse Act of 1990. So there can be a combination of things which can be, but very well, Rashmi can go ahead and get a restraining order against that person. That's more liable to do it. But if in case that there's somebody who has done it a little and it's not repetitive, then the best is to take the specific page down and complain it to those specific platforms, or complain in a cyber police station, or the helpline numbers with both the countries has. Whereas India is concerned, you have section 507 of IPC, you have section 66E of IPC, which specifically talks about if you want to intimidate anybody, or you receive any kind of intimidation by any anonymous also communication, then that person, by giving any kind of messages or anything, that person can be, depending on the crime, can be punished up to the imprisonment of 2 years, and can also include fine. This can be either a bullying, or it can be an anti-bullying, whatever the section can be. Now, section 66E talks about violation of privacy. So, when Rashmiji was talking about that she tags her husband's offices and other things, so that's practically and if the moment she involves the kids, that becomes a major crime. So you practically invading somebody's privacy, or, you're picking up things and doing things. That's not something which is available for you on internet. A lot of people say that something which is freely available on internet is a public information that doesn't form part of your privacy, but that's practically not for her to use it. It can also be intimidation. So it can be combination of things, and that can be done by people. Once that is done, it's a proper thing. But I would say that refrain yourself from a personal communication with those people, because then it can be used in a different manner, and it becomes a subject to court deciding and lawyers fighting about those things, that who is right and who's wrong. So, why fall victim or prey to that perpetrator? Rather, when you are aware about these things, keep your questions very straightforward, pinpoint, and the moment that is done, that these can't stop, take an action.
From what you explained to us, Khushbu, it's the case for Rashmi is from it escalates from cyberbullying to cybercrime, actually.
Absolutely.
That's what it's escalated into, and that's quite actually grave, and it does affect one of the questions I had. It impacts your lives, your livelihood, your mental health, and all that. Have you seen cases where people literally just have disrupted livelihoods because of this?
Absolutely. See, I have few examples, but I don't want to make people refraining themselves from, going against the perpetrator. But this has happened. The age group, if you pick it up, there have been situations where that bullying has a very, very, very distressing and drastic impact on children, on women, on people, on even on male people. Because what happens is, one, it scares you a lot. Second, the reach we were talking about. A lot of people are aware, so even if you want to stop, you don't know how it pops up, and it reaches things which are shared on WhatsApp 1,000 times in groups, in areas around, so you can't practically think of going giving explanations. And a lot of times what they do is they pick up a weak point about it. So there is always a lot of times in bullying also, apart from basic, which is not a truth, there is a little hint of whatever is the truth, and they can amplify those things. So you're very scared about those things. Like, for example, if somebody talks about somebody's relationship, somebody's private chat, let's say you and me are talking about somebody, maybe not in that tone or in that light, but we are normally gossiping about somebody, but that can be shown in a different manner and across. So you feel ki, yeah, I did chat, but not the way it has been projected. So with that pinch of salt, I mean, things are very different. A lot of times things you share, now you feel ki, okay, they are true. So what do? I did talk to that person. I did share these things. They are true. But not to forget that your pictures, your chat is between that person. The right over that picture is with you. That has been shared in a private message with that person, and that can never be shared by that person to a third party or can make it public. That's an offense, because he has an intention, or he or she has an intention to malign you, to put your private things out, which is not meant for him. The ownership still lies with you. So Copyright Act are also very clear, and all these platforms are very stringent whereas Copyright Acts are concerned, and that are similar across jurisdictions. So you can also use copyright, whereas your pictures are being used, where your private things are being pictures are being used. Pornographic related things are pretty much clear, whereas child pornography is concerned. The others have a different definition, whereas indecent or pictures of women, I mean, private parts are concerned, definition are pretty different. But nonetheless, your chats are your private chats, and it is just between you two. So it cannot be shared by people around with an intention, and that's a criminal offense. Coming to your direct question, that yes, it has a very deep impact, and there have been numerous cases where people have shut down, kids have stopped going to the college or to the school. They don't want to, because entire classroom knows things which they must have shared with somebody. Sexting has become very common nowadays. People, I mean, kind of things also we watch over, it's very common. So they're born in the technology side, so you can't say that, stay away. It's just precaution part of it. So they're very scared about, they have very daunting effect. It's lifelong, because things are there and it cannot be, even if you say that I get a deleting order, pages are down, still people have offline, it's still shared. So it becomes difficult. And whereas women are concerned, it becomes very difficult. There are a lot of things which you don't want to share. There are a lot of things which you have done it at a certain age or a time, which you don't want it to be visible later, and it pops up. A lot of cases have been there where there have been a relationship, or maybe a no relationship, or something a little maybe, and can be exaggerated and put it after the marriage. Becomes very difficult for women to take care, whereas their entire in-laws and explaining everything in a new life is concerned. Businesses have a very daunting effect, because let's say Rashmiji was talking about businesses around what she's doing for a good cause. So people, it gets key, people don't want to believe. So your entire confidence goes for a toss. You don't want to go, because even if people are not thinking, you feel, oh, the person is looking at me like that. That's a very basic human psychological behavior. So yes, it does have an impact. So I think with these kind of talks, with these kind of things, we have to make people aware that because you're a victim, do not be scared. You're not the one who has done the crime. You can share things, you can do things. Be little cautious, understand the things, be little calculative when you do such things. But nonetheless, if you have done it, you have not done the crime.
No,
so don't be scared. Don't hide. Don't hide.
Guilty about
common.
it.
It should be common. I keep on saying that these are the things common. Everybody does it. Everybody goes through the same. So be confident, get out and face it.
Yeah, that's it. It's sometimes it's easy to say, but I think this kind of talk shows help to sort of influence, to make especially women, I think, understand that there is something out there to help, to look out for what you can do, etc. So that's one of the reasons why we organize this kind of talk shows. I personally, I think I've covered all the questions I had. Khushbu, do you want to give us any more tips or anything on cybercrime and cyberbullying? I think you've been very, very on top of you are on top of your game. I can say that. You know, and I was very impressed when you talked about all those laws that you know by heart. I did study 2 years of law, but I didn't have that much memory, so I gave up.
No, it's not about the memory. When you do cases for you. Nonetheless, yeah. I mean, I would also want to thank Rashmi ji for coming up and sharing her story, because that also gives a lot of inspiration to people that these things happen. And it becomes common in the household for others also, because apart from you struggling, you feel your family also has to give that support. So when your family also understands that these things happen, it becomes a very common thing, and entire society grows up that these things happen, and it's not the victim who we have to sensitize, but it's the criminal, and these criminals literally live on fear.
Live on it, yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't think we talk about it enough either, Khushbu. Cyberbullying, I don't think we talk about it enough to create this great awareness. We talk about health issues, all that kind of things, but this is as important because it affects your mental health. It could affect you physically as well.
It does. To an extent, after some time, it impacts you completely. We do talk about crimes which are visible, tangible, which has some effect on your bank, some effect on your business. But bullying, and especially if you see bullying, major portion is it's gender biased crime. If you see bullying, it's still gender biased. It's tilted whereas women are concerned, whereas girl childs are concerned. Comparatively, I'm not saying it's completely crime against the women and children, but if you'll see, it's a women specific over there. So it much need or stress, much concern has to be put in, and focus has to be put in this area for making people aware, and for also these platforms. It's not just us, it's technology. These platforms also have to come in for and take these things more seriously than anything else. They're very stringent whereas copyright laws are concerned. They have to come up very strict whereas women related aspects are also concerned. Child pornography, all these platforms have become very stringent, but nonetheless we have to make them more aware about, especially these kind of things, because women go through a lot and they have to struggle through all. I'm not saying that we are deprived.
No, you're right.
But we have to. Entire across the places. So why not make it little more? And I'm not saying that even if you don't go through, that's the crime which is more against the women, or the numbers say so. Whereas past is concerned.
Stats are there.
Yeah. Stats are there. So why not put more focus into it, maybe filter it, bring in your technology, those kind of things that can enable women to just, why do I have to go to literally police stations or file, restraining orders? Why not things can be done over there? Block those people, if twice that person has opened an account, I can't open an account without giving an email address or phone number. There has to be some verification. So if my account is blocked once, twice, block me, right?
Exactly. No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
There can be so many things that can be done by technology also. Technology, their UI, UX is beautiful, whereas they're making it very user-friendly for you to, hook or
that's the thing. Yeah, that's the idea, that you just get hooked.
Other thing also very user-friendly. That report abuses, some places it is very user-friendly, others are not. So why not make it little more, time,
as well.
Just a little bit here, let me pin myself, add myself to the spotlight. Yeah, just few things. The person, I know her very well. She is, she's a master in this. She's a master. She now does all through fake IDs, fake emails, ask somebody else to comment, somebody else to write, somebody else to, do. She doesn't do it on straight away from her own ID. It'll be very tough to prove that it's her. Now, what do we do in that case?
You can have different, that is for the police station to understand, the police or the investigator to understand. There can be same kind of modus operandi which she must be operating. She must be posting a content which she would have already done it from her account. So, you can have a lot of similarities, see the combination of it, maybe see the language, see the kind of content which she's posting. If she's posting some documents or something, similar kind of thing, then you can say that I believe so. So you can file a complaint in anonymity, as I said, John Doe, and you can say that there have been in the past these person, and I have a belief that the content is identical or in a way same language which is being used, which I'm putting it over here, so that can also be investigated. And these platforms are duty bound if there is an order by the law enforcement agencies or by the court to give details. Defamation, they practically don't give it to you yourself. If there's a copyright, you might ask them. You can all, wherever your pictures are used, you can ask these platforms, including YouTube and all, that this is my picture, it's a copyright violation, give me details of the person, or either you take it down. They will provide you details. They'll provide you with phone number and email address. If there are different platforms, you can literally put it in copyright if your pictures are used. If not, then you can report abuse in different manner, and you can literally see the similarity and might ask from, attaching a police complaint, FIR, or attaching a court order for them to provide you with details of that person who has opened that specific account.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much.
All the best, Rashmi.
You got your answer, Rashmiji.
Yes.
I'll ask you to do, we will end the talk here. Khushbu, I really appreciated your participation in this and your collaboration. It was amazing and eye-opening as well. Thank you very much. I'll ask Rashmi to do the vote of thanks before we end this session.
I can't tell you that, to speak out is something which gives you immense satisfaction. And that's what I did today. I spoke out, and we are so, in fact, Inspiring Indian Women is privileged indeed to have such an inspiring figure herself, at age of 34 or 34, I think, to be an advocate in Supreme Court is not a small feat. It is a very big achievement, and these are the kind of women we want to bring on our platform, who can inspire others, who can tell their story, what all hurdles. Today it was only cyber crime or cyberbully, but we would like Khushbu to, talk about her journey. Did she face any hurdles sometime later? Hopefully very soon, because International Women's Day is coming, and we are doing a series on powerful women, and we want you there. I don't know whether you will be there by 8th of March, International Women's Day, because we're planning for a physical event where we want networking of such inspiring women and speakers on the platform. We're trying to get a venue and physical event very soon on International Women's Day. I wish we could talk more and more, but thank you indeed for joining us, giving us your valuable time. I know you must be very busy, but Inspiring Indian Women feels blessed today, blessed indeed. And you've started a trend that more and more women would follow your path. Thank you again. Thank you, Malini. You were fantastic as always. And
thank you for the opportunity.
Is always there for us, and Malini is an asset to Inspiring Indian Women. Thank you once again, and we had a fantastic show. We will be back soon with Khushbu, many more sessions.
Thank you, Khushbu. Thank you, Rashmi. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Malini ji. Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Bye-bye.